Imagine hosting a massive summer barbecue in your backyard, laughing with your neighbors and shaking hands with local politicians, while directly beneath the floorboards of your living room, the decaying remains of nearly 30 young men are hidden in the dark, suffocating earth. Imagine dressing up as a colorful, cheerful clown named Pogo to entertain sick children in hospitals and bring joy to community fundraisers, while secretly operating as one of the most prolific and sadistic serial killers in American history. This is not a twisted fictional thriller. It is the absolute horrifying and fully documented truth of John Wayne Gacy, a man who became known to the world as the Killer Clown. In the quiet, hard-working suburb of Des Plaines, Illinois, during the 1970s, Gacy was considered a pillar of the community. He was a successful building contractor, a political precinct captain, and a man who seemed always ready to help anyone in need. But behind this meticulously crafted mask of sanity and public service lay a monstrous predator who utilized his social status to lure, torture, and murder 33 young men and teenage boys, turning his suburban home into a literal house of horrors and leaving a scar on the American psyche that has never truly healed. The illusion of Gacy's innocence completely shattered in December 1978 when a 15-year-old high school student named Robert Pius suddenly vanished after leaving his job at a local pharmacy to speak with a contractor about a potential summer job. That contractor was John Wayne Gacy. When Robert failed to return home, his frantic family immediately notified the police, who placed Gacy under tight surveillance and obtained a search warrant for his home on Summerdale Avenue. When detectives stepped inside the house, they were immediately hit by a foul, overwhelming, and sickening odor that permeated every single room. Gacy calmly dismissed the smell, claiming it was a simple issue of sewage buildup caused by a faulty plumbing system and heavy rains. However, the lead investigator, driven by an unsettling gut feeling, refused to believe the excuse. Armed with flashlights, detectives forced their way into the crawl space beneath the house, a dark, cramped, dirt-floored void that required crawling on hands and knees. Shoveling through the damp earth, a detective suddenly struck something solid. It wasn't a broken pipe. It was a human arm bone. The horrific reality descended upon the investigators. They weren't standing in a regular suburban home. They were standing on top of a massive hidden graveyard. As the police excavation intensified over the following weeks, the sheer scale of Gacy's atrocities left the nation paralyzed with shock. Forensic teams meticulously dug through the freezing mud beneath Gacy's house, slowly unearthing body after body, all tightly packed together in the crawl space. Gacy had developed a systematic, cold-blooded routine. He would lure young men to his home by promising them high-paying construction jobs or by impersonating a police officer. Once inside, he would trick his victims into putting on a pair of trick handcuffs, claiming it was a magic trick. The moment the handcuffs clicked shut, the trap closed. Gacy would subject his victims to hours of unimaginable torture before finally strangling them to death using a rope tourniquet. When the crawl space beneath his floorboards literally ran out of physical room to hold any more bodies, Gacy began driving his work truck into the dark hours of the night to dump his final 4 victims over a bridge and into the Des Plaines River. In total, 33 bodies were recovered, turning Gacy's home into the most densely packed crime scene in United States history. The legal and judicial systems left absolutely no room for ambiguity, ensuring a definitive, closed ending to this nightmare. During his high-profile trial in 1980, Gacy attempted to plead not guilty by reason of insanity, with his defense lawyers arguing that he suffered from severe psychological disorders that rendered him incapable of controlling his murderous urges. However, the prosecution presented overwhelming evidence of Gacy's sharp intellect, careful planning, and cold calculations, proving that he knew exactly what he was doing every single time he locked the handcuffs. The jury rejected his insanity plea completely, finding him guilty on all 33 counts of murder. Gacy was sentenced to death, closing the book on any possibility of him ever walking free again. He spent 14 years on death row at the Maynard Correctional Center, completely isolated from the world he had deceived for so long. On May 10, 1994, justice was finally executed when John Wayne Gacy was put to death by lethal injection at Stateville Correctional Center. His chilling final words to the executioners were a defiant statement of his complete lack of remorse. His house of horrors was completely demolished by bulldozers, leaving nothing but an empty lot, ensuring that the physical space of his evil was erased from the earth forever. Now, considering how flawlessly Gacy managed to fool his neighbors, the police, and local politicians for years, do you think people with antisocial personality disorders are naturally superior at masking their true intentions? Or did the community simply see what they wanted to see because he was a useful citizen? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.